I'm Harrison Graham. Welcome into the Chiefs Report by Chat Sports. It is mailbag time, so send in your questions, hashtag Chiefs or Super Chat. We'll get to as many as we possibly can. From Cole Keller, do you think all the injured Chiefs, or at least most of them, will be available for the Super Bowl? Just looking at this, this is purely a guess. We don't have, deep diagnosis right here. I think from most concerning to least concerning, I'll go Snead first most. Hardman second most, even though he came out and said he expects to play in the Super Bowl, only because that was his first game back in 2 months and he re-aggravated it. JuJu third most with the knee. I think Toney is pretty safely going to play, and then I expect Willie Gay to play as well. I think there's a chance all 5 play. I think it's way more likely all 5 play than none of them play, but I think at least 3 or 4 will. Had you not had the extra week here between the Super Bowl, maybe that's different, especially for L'Jarius Sneed dealing with concussion protocol stuff. But I think there's a good chance all play, but they're definitely going to have some nicked up guys. There's no doubt. From Jay, if you had to pick one, would you choose preparation or health? Well, the extra week gives you preparation anyway. But I'd rather be as fully healthy as possible. Like, I'd rather play on 1 week rest than 2 if that meant more guys were healthy. Now, that's not really how it works. The more time you have, you're going to get healthier. But I would rather have more bullets in the chamber, have more players available in a game like this. Shout out to JJ with the super chat. Appreciate it. He says, who do you think has been the better rookie corner this year, Trent McDuffie or Jaylen Watson? I would say McDuffie's been more consistent, although he had some issues. I think he had some cleat problems in the AFC title game. He kept slipping. It was, wind chill of 4 degrees, so that made it tough. But I think he's been more consistent with his technique and everything. First-round talent, Jaylen Watson, 7th-rounder. But Watson has created more takeaways. He had, I think, 2 picks in the regular season. Now he has 2 in the playoffs. So you like that combo, though. You like McDuffie's like, hey, I'm not going to give up a bunch of completions, but Watson, I might give some up, but I'm going to take the ball away as well. So I like that 1-2 punch. Josh Williams has flashed as well. This secondary has major potential moving forward. Quick 2 from Sandy at Wirtz. Sandy, ask a question next time. We appreciate it. But if you have a question, Sam will be sure to get it on screen. Appreciate the donation from you and anyone else who sends one in. From Cam Sims, bigger threat to the Chiefs moving forward, Bengals or Bills? It's a tough one. I'm going to lean Bengals at least through next year. I will say this. I saw a tweet that made a good point. The Bengals after next year, yes, they're still going to be in Super Bowl window as long as Joe Burrow is there, but things get a lot tougher. They got to pay Burrow. They're probably going to sign him to an extension this offseason. Jamar Chase, what do you do with T. Higgins? Do you trade him? Do you keep him long-term? Probably not going to be able to pay and keep Tyler Boyd. Joe Mixon, I don't think he's getting another contract. So, it's going to look different, this core of offensive players. Like Chase, Burrow, those guys are undoubtedly going to be there. They got to make a decision on Higgins. Probably need to get a new running back soon. Mixon didn't have the best year, and I don't think you're giving him a 3rd contract. So, I still will lean Cincy because I think Joe Burrow, I like him more than Josh Allen. I think he's more consistent, but both these teams are going to be around. There's no doubt the Chiefs are the team to beat, but Cincinnati and Buffalo are right there as well. Now, which team do you think is the bigger threat long-term? Type CIN for the Cincinnati Bengals, type BUF for the Buffalo Bills. Pin comment on today's show. Which team do you think is a bigger threat to Kansas City beyond this year? Will Schneider, what do you think the Chiefs should focus on in the draft? All year I've said pass rushers, and maybe that's still the case, but Frank Clark's had a hell of a playoffs. I mean, you might just bring him back at this point. He just elevates in the postseason. I've given Frank Clark a lot of crap, but the guy backs it up in the postseason. You got to give it to him. Plus, Karlaftis has emerged. I assume Chris Jones is going to be around. I think he could be in line for an extension. And these young secondary guys keep stepping up. Honestly, at this point, I'd probably say receiver. I will say this. One thing that stood out in that Bengals-Chiefs game, Joe Burrow has the ability to kind of just throw jump balls. I mean, the 4th and 6th double coverage ball to Chase, that catch he makes, Chiefs don't have someone that can make that catch. Kelsey's unbelievable. He's not a out-jump two guys in double coverage guy, though. Like, you'd like to get that 6'3", 6'4" guy that can just go up and get it. JuJu isn't really that either, plus he's a free agent. So if you could get a big-time receiver, like a Quentin Johnston in here, a Jordan Addison, Jackson Smith, and Jigba, you'd have to probably move up for those guys, but I would consider it because if you get a big-time wideout, this offense could continue to evolve. Bill Chase, I think the Chiefs need to draft defensive backfield help. I mean, you could certainly add another corner or safety. Safety's another spot. Juan Thornhill's a free agent. Justin Reid's been up and down this year, but Brian Cook is starting to make plays. These rookie corners keep making plays, Bill. If they keep improving, I mean, do you need a corner? I don't know. You still have L'Jarius Sneed under contract for another year. So, yeah, you could add another piece to that secondary. You can never have enough guys that can cover, but is it your top need? I don't know. It may not be. From Sandy Wirtz, who sent in a $5 as well, and she sent us a question. Sandy, appreciate that. She says, how worried are you that JuJu will not play, and if he does, how much will he be a factor? My name is Caleb, and I'm a big fan. Caleb, appreciate the question. JuJu hasn't had a big game in a while. I thought last night maybe could be that. And ironically, or I should say last night, Sunday night, it ended up being Marquez Valdes-Scantling, who has been, kind of hit and miss this year, but what a time to have the game of his season. 116 yards and a touchdown. But, yeah, I mean, hopefully he's out there. I think he's been dealing with this chronic knee issue off and on throughout the year. But I think he'll play. Will he be a huge factor? Can't really say that with confidence. I wouldn't expect him to play a huge role, but you'd like to at least have him out there because, my God, Marcus Kemp was catching a pass in the fourth quarter of an AFC title game. Appreciate BetUS for sponsoring us all year as our sportsbook partner. And, hey, I can't wait for the prop bets to come out with BetUS for Super Bowl 57. They haven't dropped yet, but be on the lookout. Create an account, chatsports.com/ChiefsBet. Promo code Chiefs125. We do have the early point spread and over-under. Now, this line is shifting, so depending on when you're watching, it could shift. But right now, Eagles -2, over-under 49.5. Chiefs opened as -1.5 as a slight favorite, so early money coming in on the Eagles, but I think this thing will shift as the week and next week go on. I think it could be around a pick 'em at kickoff because this game could be a classic. Get an account today by going to chatsports.com/ChiefsBet and get going with 125% deposit bonus by using code Chiefs125. Austin Pritchard, any updates on Trey Smith? I saw him go down a few times but did not come out. Yeah, he kind of fought through it. He was a little limpy at one point. I think that's one of those where it's like you just play on adrenaline. I think the week off, some rest will help, a little bit of rehab. He's probably dealing with the ankle or a knee issue, but I think he's going to play. Should be good to go. From Keedron Smith, do you think next year's crop of rookies are going to be as good as this year's for us? P.S. Call me Ked. All right, Ked. I mean, that would be a huge accomplishment with what the Chiefs have gotten out of this rookie class. Maybe what's interesting about this Chiefs rookie class is it doesn't yet necessarily look like any of them are going to be superstars, but they're all just really solid, right? They're really just good, sound football players. So maybe you find like that star player next year, if you will, but I'd be surprised if they topped what this class did. I mean, this is something else. Ice Morey, how much do you think Chris Jones will make for a new contract? A ton. He got, 4 for $85 on his last deal? The guy just had 15.5 sacks. He's got one or 2 years left in his deal. He could definitely be in line for an extension. Dude, if I'm Chris Jones, I'm asking for $25 a year. I mean, and I'm probably paying it if I'm Brett Veach. He is unbelievable. I think he's the best defensive tackle in football now. He has surpassed Aaron Donald, in my opinion. He is just a game wrecker. And how about with the game on the line? 3rd and 8, I believe it was. They line him at defensive end, which they do from time to time, and he sacks Burrow when you have to have it, when you've got to make a play. And that was when 3 plays earlier, you gave up the 3rd and 16. You're thinking, oh, crap, they're going to beat us again. And Chris Jones still does it. He's special. This is a guy you got to keep around, and it's going to cost a lot of money. From JS, do you think Spags follows up this great game plan and can always find ways to contain Jalen Hurts and force some throws with that hurt shoulder? Something that really has happened. Now, I will say this. I don't know if the shoulder's a big problem at this point. Plus, now he's got the 2 weeks off. But historically, going into Super Bowls, these games are lower scoring than you would expect. Now, there are exceptions like, what was it, the Nick Foles, Tom Brady Super Bowl? That was very high scoring. I think it was like 45-37 or something like that. But you think about some of the ones in recent years, like, Rams, Patriots, the year the Chiefs should have been at 13-3 in that one. Bucks, Chiefs. Chiefs had huge problems, and that's mostly because the offensive line just was atrocious. Even Bengals, Rams last year, I think it was 23-20. I mean, you think of the championship games Sunday night, 23-20, 31-7. In the playoffs, these defenses tend to elevate. And with that extra week off before the Super Bowl, it seems like the defenses usually kind of make it more of an even playing field. So, I think if you can hold the Eagles in the 20s, limit Jalen Hurts from getting outside the pocket and force him to make throws within the pocket, I think you're going to have good success if you're Steve Spagunolo. Now, name an X factor for Super Bowl 57. Who's someone that stands out that could be a difference maker that maybe we're not thinking of? Like one in the AFC title game was Josh Williams. Comes in cold. L'Jarius Sneed gets hurt, comes in, plays well, gets an interception. Like, is there an encore for him? Can someone else? Maybe we're not thinking of someone like, is Jarrett McKinnon that guy? He's been quiet in the playoffs. It's been more of the Pacheco show. Let me know who you guys think could be an X factor in Super Bowl 57. All right, Kate Chappell, do you think Andy Reid will retire if we beat the Eagles in the Super Bowl? I'd be surprised. I don't think you can ever rule it out. He's 64, so he's not young, but he – I mentioned this a week or two ago. He joked a couple weeks ago that he's excited to go to Germany next year because the Chiefs have a game in Germany next year and get a bratwurst. So I don't think he's going to walk away. But, if they win this game, he might consider it. He gets his second Super Bowl, which gets him into that exclusive club. He would have beaten his former team in the Super Bowl. So, you never know. But I would tend to say no, but I don't think you could completely rule it out. Jay says, if we lose the Super Bowl, would this season still be considered a success? I think so. The Eagles are damn good. Anytime you get to the Super Bowl, it's a success. Now, if they get up huge and choke it or something, that would really be tough to swallow. But I still think, I know the expectations are unbelievably high, but getting to the Super Bowl should always be considered a success, in my opinion. But it would be less of a success, obviously. I mean, this is a team right now where it is Super Bowl or bust, but at the same time, I think you have to factor in everything. It's like, 3 Super Bowl appearances in 4 years, you won 1. That's still a damn good stretch. Subscribe to the Chiefs Report and turn on your notifications. I know we have a lot of new subscribers from those of you that joined us for our Chiefs versus Bengals AFC Championship watch party. If you are one of those people, welcome. Turn on your notifications. That way you know when we go live and when we publish videos. So appreciate you guys for tuning in, and subscribe for more content. The Gamer OG, I'm worried about Jalen Hurts because he does a lot of QB sneaks. I mean, he's really good on 3rd and 4th and 1. So, yeah, I mean, if you get into 3rd and 4th and 1 defense, you're probably not going to have a lot of success. He's really good at converting those because he's just so strong. I mean, the guy squats what, Sam, like 700 pounds? I mean, his lower body strength is unbelievable. But I don't think you should be worried about Hurts because of his QB sneak ability. I don't think they're going to be living in 3rd and 1. But, yeah, I mean, that could be, something that plays a factor. If you're trying to get a goal line stop and they get inside the 1, it's going to be hard to stop him because he's really good in that situation. From Terry Singleton, so do you think Jones will have another big game? I hope so. I mean, had the biggest game of his playoff career against Cincinnati, 2 sacks, 8 quarterback hurries, 3 TFLs. He had 5 QB hits. I mean, he was just unbelievable. Frank Clark was good as well. But I think in general, Terry, you need the defensive line to deliver because the Eagles' D-line is going to make plays. You need to respond on your side as well. But you got to rush with discipline because we know Jalen Hurts is mobile and he can get out of the pocket. So I think Chris Jones should have a chance to have a big game, but going up against a mobile quarterback and a good O-line. So it's got to be a challenge, and a challenge that I'm sure they're excited for. Dale Webb Jr., if Chad Henne leaves, who backs up Mahomes? Well, Shane Buechele would get the first crack at it, but if the Chiefs aren't confident in him as a backup option, you could draft someone in the middle or late rounds. Do you want a guy like Stetson Bennett, who just got arrested for public intoxication? But, I don't think that's going to eliminate his career by any means. Could you draft a guy like Max Duggan late in the draft or, someone else? So I think drafting a quarterback late could be an option if Henne retires. You could sign a vet, like a Marcus Mariota if he gets cut. I think he'd be a good backup option, but we'll have to wait and see. Another one from Terry here. We just answered this one, Sam. I do think Chris Jones will have a big game. Appreciate the question from Terry on that one. Let's go to Daniel here. What are the chances we get a new OC next year, and who will it be? So, yeah, I mean, there's real chatter that Eric Bieniemy could leave. The Commanders want him, it sounds like, and he's not under contract, so he could go. This is, he signed a one-year deal. You could promote Matt Nagy, which I think is very much a possibility. The Chiefs like him. Andy Reid likes him. You could go out and try to get someone else, but, a guy like Kellen Moore, he's off the market. Chargers got him, which I think is fascinating for the AFC West next year. But I think Nagy would be that natural progression hire. Then maybe you go get a quarterback's coach, but we'll see. We'll see what happens with Bieniemy after the Super Bowl.